All right, brings us to item E, presentations and or updates. We have none. Item F, legal advisor report, none. Item G, engineers and or architect reports. I don't see anyone in the audience. It looks like there will be none tonight. Brings us to item H, public wishing to address the council, public hearings, agenda items, etc. Number 3, River Birch Renewable Energy LLC to answer questions from the Lafourche Parish Council regarding an increase in garbage collection complaints. Just state your name and address for the record if you don't mind.
Jamie Rister, 200 Jefferson Davis Street, Houma, Louisiana.
All right. Questions? Mr. Melvin, you have the floor first, sir. Let's see.
Thank you for coming up.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. I know that I just had an odd increase in the amount of calls I was getting, and I know sometimes I'd call some other folks and say, hey, you know, how's your pickup there, and look, I know it's not a perfect world, but I know that on certain areas, like out on Burma, and some streets might have been Brandywine, where there was pickup here, not pickup here. It was just some missed pickups. It wasn't like when y'all first came on, where we had to educate the public on, you know, how we were going to do the pickups. There's going to be an arm, and you couldn't have a bunch of garbage bags. Mm-hmm. And I think for the most part, folks are catching on to that and have complied, I'm pretty sure. But I was getting calls for, it wasn't just Mardi Gras, which is a holiday. We get that, so it was a double pickup. But I just didn't know if y'all were having supply chains problems or maybe help problems, because I know I deal a lot with marine industry. There's a lot of you know, help here and there wherever you go, waiters and things at restaurants. Could you elaborate on what may be causing some of the issues?
Yeah, so we just got done refurbishing 4 of our trucks, okay? Those particular 4 trucks are 20-yard capacity. The problem we run in is, due to the contract, we have to run those particular small trucks in the towns and small areas. As a result, volumes are high in those particular areas. So we just went through a refurbishing of our 4 trucks. We've actually purchased a brand new truck we will receive in July. So we were going through some issues getting those trucks refurbished. We rented trucks out, which caused some delay in services. Like I said, it's not the status quo to have any sort of carryovers, but you know, we did, you know, pick up that garbage the following day. But to elaborate on that, yes, we had to refurbish some trucks. It's a part of the contract, but we got through it. They're on the road now. I don't see any carryovers of late, any service issues of late, but we did experience some for a little while. And obviously, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you we don't deal with supply chain or labor shortages. It's an issue. We deal with it. We dealt with it with rental trucks, and we're back full throttle. And like I said, I haven't had any reports of carryovers in the recent probably 3 to 4 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, and like I say, I've had a couple other calls where they said that at least they thought, I don't know if they called y'all, but they definitely called me, where they said the truck was picking up and the cans was going inside the truck. Now, I know y'all have cameras, y'all can check on that. That's why I told them I referred them to y'all for that, because I can't verify that. That was just another type of call. And also, I've been on the council since y'all took over, about a term and a half, and or, you know, a term and since the beginning of the year is my 2nd term, since y'all took over, and we're a little longer than that. We're very pleased, but again, the amount of phone calls since I've been on the council was never like it was from starting in, like, you know, November, January, just started upticking. And I just, again, do y'all have other contracts? Are y'all spread thin now with other parishes?
No, I can tell you this from statistics, from call logs, from pending work orders. Since January of 2024, those things have multiplied. For whatever reasons I'm not aware of, but I will say this, since the beginning of January, our work orders and call logs have increased dramatically.
Okay. All right. I'll just let somebody else ask, or I might ask another question if not.
Okay. Pressure.
Yeah, I just...
Hold on, Daniel. Okay, now we got, so Mr. Araby's one was lit, well, now it's lit. So Terry was next in line.
Okay.
Terry, you should have the floor now.
Yeah, I just had a few minor
He's done,
garbage
he's done.
complaints, Jamie, throughout my area. And I know y'all were having some issues with some of the equipment and everything, that's like you said, and some employees or whatever. But overall, the garbage service, I can't really say too much about it. My only complaint is, and it's not really a complaint, I guess, but it's the trash pickup. That, I do get several calls about that, and I'm just hoping that we can, try to, of course, I know we get into the springtime now, and I'm very familiar with all the garbage and the trash throughout my years of experience, and I know that we're gonna have a bunch of trash out there, but I'm just asking that y'all can maybe try to help us out with that trash pickup a little more.
Yes, sir. Probably 6 months ago, we put a PSA out. A lot of our issues as far as pending work orders is like, for example, lid replacement. We came out with a PSA a few months ago educating as far as cart placement, as long as the handles are facing the resident's door, things like that. So it could really help us with a lot of compliancy from the customer, because in those instances, if let's say the handle is not facing the resident, when it's emptied, it's smashed between the doghouse. It causes a lot of breaks. It causes a lot of repeat work orders. So that is a part of the plan, is to go out there to issue a PSA, better educate the customer with this particular contract. And of course, we always need to improve. And we strive for that. I deal with machines and people. And that can always lead to problems and issues. But I assure you, we've been here for the parish. We've helped with, hurricane pickup. We've helped any way we can. Any, requests by the parish, we've been there to help. But, we always have room to improve, and we will.
And I do know that y'all go beyond the call of duty sometimes to help out with the parish, and we appreciate that. I do appreciate it anyway. But again, like I said, the few calls I had, the minute I reported it to Mr. Shanklin and everything else, it was taken care of. So y'all did go back and take care of it. So again, thank y'all for your service.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lorraine.
So you Jamie Rister?
Yes, sir, I am.
I'm glad I got to meet you.
Good to meet you.
But anyway, what I want to say is that River Birch has been picking up the garbage and the trash in Lafourche for 5 years, going on 5 years. And this is the first time you had to come in front of the council. It's pretty damn good, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, sir.
And I can tell you, I don't care who picks up your garbage and trash. It can be the best one in the whole United States. You're going to have problems. But you know what you need to do when you have a problem? You need to solve it. And I had a street that was skipped the other day. Lady called me, I called Sam. They called you, I guess, and they took care of it. You just got to let them know. Now, it doesn't happen every day, and like I said, I'm shocked, because I served on many councils, and many contractors had to come in front of the council more than once. Mm-hmm. And your contract's almost up, and here you are. And I can't say anything bad about your garbage service, but I can tell you it's the trash service that's not, it could be better, as far as I'm concerned. And I know when you're on the southern end, we further from the landfill and all this other good stuff. And but sometimes you gotta wait, and I write my piles down and I send them to Sam, and hopefully they'll get taken care of. If it's sitting there too long, I'll let them know. Mm-hmm. And that's it's just, if the council's not satisfied with the service, I'll tell you, bid it out if that's what you want, and you'll see what you're gonna get. They'll probably get the bid because they're on the landfill. But that's where you got to go. If everybody's unhappy, just bid it out. But I can tell you, I'm satisfied with the garbage, and I'm also satisfied so with the trash. But I think that you can improve on that a little bit. I don't know how many trucks you got running in the whole parish.
On a given day, or?
Well,
yeah,
average.
Average 20.
No, but I'm talking about trash, the grabber.
Yeah, I'm sorry, what was it? 4. But we have been running on Saturdays for probably 6 months.
4, and then sometimes one is down, or sometimes
But we have,
somebody's,
we have 6, but we run at least 4 a day.
That I could see a little improvement, but as far as the garbage, I have no complaints, and I basically have no complaints on the trash. I just submit it, and I say a prayer, and I hope it gets picked up. And that's the bottom line. You know, I stay in contact with Sam. In fact, I put a list on his desk today. And anyway, you're not happy? Vet it out. That's my final words. And I'm glad I got to meet you, bro.
Yes, sir.
I've been accused for meeting you, but glad I got to meet you.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Mr. Rodriguez.
So I'm only into this about a month and a half, but I can tell you most of the complaints I do get are from missed pickups, right? So coming here to say you're going to improve is one thing, but coming here and bringing a plan to show us how you're going to improve is another. So I think a big part of the problem that I hear is they call and say, hey, I missed my trash, and they get no communication back. The person on the other end of the phone can't say if or when the trash is going to get picked up or what can be done about it. So the world we live in today is instant satisfaction, right? So maybe a phone call back to that resident saying, hey, yeah, we're coming tomorrow or we're coming this afternoon would ease some of those calls, right? It's just every problem is a communication problem. So maybe some feedback on that end. It's really a dead line when you call it. You're just reporting it and you don't know what happens to it. So the opinion is of a lot of people that they're paying more for trash now, whether that's true or not, they're expecting better service. So maybe some better communication could improve.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to post a PSA, and a lot of things we run across of, and we posted this 6 months ago, and a lot of instances of missed pickup. It could be off, you know, I don't want to pinpoint anything, but it could be from a sort of the can's not flush, the can has debris hanging out. It could be there's a vehicle blocked or the can was on the ground before. There's a lot of issues, but you're right. We do need to communicate better, and we plan on doing that. We're going to institute a tag program for the cans. It's something that we do to all the other parishes to where we actually notify why it wasn't picked up with a checked off box.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. And Mr. Melvin.
Yeah, I wanted to thank Mr. Rodriguez for asking that question, because again, like I say, we get calls, y'all get calls, and of course, I don't know if everybody knows where y'all live, but they know where we live, but the point is, we didn't get any knocks at the door, but again, like I said, just had some upticks, and I just couldn't figure out why, and it just began to increase, and it was kind of steady. And so again, thank you for coming, we appreciate it, and I know that whatever happens in the future as far as, you know, so far, so good. It's been a good marriage, shall we say. But I know that, I don't know if Mr. Lorraine was casting aspersions because he was looking at me the whole time, but, you know, hey, I don't know if any of the councilmen was following the garbage trucks, but in any event, I digress, so thank you.
Yeah, so Jamie, so I'll wrap up. I appreciate your honesty and taking your licks for where there are issues, because that is most appreciative, I can tell you from my perspective. I can tell you, just like Bo said, the last 6 months has probably been the most calls I've had since I've been a councilman with complaints. And I know it's due to a myriad of issues. And typically for me, I typically try to tell them, you know, hey, let's just see what happens when your next pickups. I probably should, and like Mr. Rodriguez said, but I usually let it roll for a time just to see if it's a repetitive issue, just because I get so many calls, because everybody, like Bo says, knows where I live at. But anyway, I can tell you for me also, it's basically just been in the last 6 months. Prior to that, I really had no issues. I do want to ask, and I'm sure you probably know about it, Jamie, is St. Joseph Street. There was a gentleman came here several times about a pole meter off his house. And has that been resolved to your knowledge, or is that still unresolved?
That is still unresolved. The company has taken the position that we recognize. I think it's National Electrical Institute, where there's a mandate, there's a responsibility. The electrical company knows about it. We run through this all the time, particularly when bad weather comes in. And as far as I know, it has not been resolved, and the company is still maintaining its position on that.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate for that resident. I'm sure we'll be seeing him again. And then I'll just relay one personal interaction. So as these complaints started to come up, I was pulling out my driveway, headed to work, and this he was dumping the can at my house, personal house. The wind was kind of blowing, so a bunch of trash ended up in the yard. It just kind of flew around, and no big deal. I don't say anything. I go pick it up. Well, this guy got out the truck, and he was actually picking it up. So I went over there to tell him, man, I really appreciate that. So you don't hear that too much. But I will tell you, he was telling me it was his second day on the job. So he showed me, he said, man, I'm so nervous right now. He said, I'm going real slow. I'm trying to, so I would just advise you that if someone can ride shotgun with somebody else for second day, because he was solo, second day on the job, he was shaking up. This poor gentleman, he was trying hard, but you could tell he was a nervous wreck. So I just want to relay that one personal interaction. I see Mr. Lorraine wants the last follow-up, so here we go. Hold on. All right, Mr. Lorraine.
I just want to say, when I'm behind a garbage truck on 308, the first thing I want to do is pass them up. I have never told a garbage truck or a trash truck what to do. That's not true. If it is true, how come they didn't go look at the films and prosecute me? Because I was nowhere around there. Now, when they come down my street, I help them at my house. But I've never told a garbage truck or anything what to do. But the reason why people are so upset, I'll tell you why. Because you're still paying the 7/10 of a penny, and you're paying $16.50 on your water meter. That's more than you ever paid in Lafourche Parish since this parish has existed. That's a lot, okay? And that's what people don't like. So, no, hey, look, no, it is what it is. It was voted on, fine. But you're still paying that. A lot of people thought that 7/10 was gone away. No, it's not. Go to the store and see if you're going to pay your sales tax. And you're paying $16.50 extra. And we got a new contract coming up. They might be able to work something out. I don't know. But the new contract comes up December 31st. Maybe you, may not. I don't know. It depends. Depends on how many more trips you got to come up here. Okay?
I mean, yeah.
And I know you're doing your
obviously
best.
the bar's gotten risen for us.
And I'm going to tell you again, man, I'm glad I got to meet you, brother.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. All right, Mr. Risser, much appreciated. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Assistant Chief Lucas Bourgeois, you come to the podium, sir. State your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
All right. I'm Assistant Chief Lucas Bourgeois with Lafourche Parish Fire District 3. I live on 113 Dorset Street, Golden Meadow. Here to remind people to go out and vote this Saturday, April 27th, at your normal voting areas. Polls open at 7 a.m., close at 8 p.m. So please go vote, support us, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Wishing you all a bunch of luck, Chief. Much appreciated.
That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Ms. Carleen. That said, we'll move into item I, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. I'll entertain a motion to open public hearing. So moved by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Rodrigue. All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passed with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Broomfield, Mr. Perk. Item 4, ordinance providing for a 2024 supplemental appropriation 24-002 within the 2024 operations and maintenance budget, correcting wages and benefits, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Adams for the administration. Second by Ms. Chesson. Would anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 4? Second call, public input, ordinance at number 4. Last and final call, public input on the ordinance at number 4. Anyone from the council? There being none, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 5, ordinances providing for a 2024 supplemental appropriation 24-003 within the 2024 operations and maintenance budget and capital outlay budget for the CDBG mitigation program grant for Bayou Vista Drainage Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Melvin for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 5? Second call, public input, ordinance at number 5. Last and final call, anyone from the public would like to discuss the ordinance at number 5? Anyone from the council? There being none, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield, Mr. Perk. Item 6, ordinance amending and reenacting Chapter 22 of the Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinances as it pertains to land development, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Ms. Chesson for the administration, second by Second by Mr. Adams. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 6? Second call, public input for the ordinance at number 6. Last and final call, public input, ordinance at number 6. Council, Mr. Melvin, you will have the floor, sir, first, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm curious, I mean, you know, when you think about CZM, the first thought is, oh, that's down on the coast, but this is parish-wide, correct?
So, yeah, so you can ask your questions, but Ms. Lorraine will speak, and then Archie will be able to answer questions.
I'll just explain it.
Once again, I won't be able to give you the mic to, yeah.
Oh, he had another mic?
No, so when you ask a question, you can ask a question, and then we can see if someone wants to answer it after yeah, y'all can't debate right now, in other
So
words.
I got to turn my mic off?
Correct. That's all you had, Bill?
Well, I mean, I'll just tell you that the way I look at it is, I just see that a fee's a tax and a tax is a fee, and this is increasing fees and taxes for people for single-dwelling residential units, and it's graduating up, and just like commercials up. And look, you know, some people just got a little present on their water bill, and I find that how much is enough, and I'm just trying to figure out what this exactly is, and is it just a fee increase because the state may charge something? Again, I don't know.
All right, thank you, Mr. Melvin. Mr. Lorraine, you turned your mic off, so now, Mr. Chesson, you're up next.
So just a little bit of history. Chapter 22 is the land development, but it actually has nothing to do with residential properties. This has everything to do with coastal zone management. So back to my time in CZM in 2011, there's a thing called prop washing. Some people call wheel washing, right? When somebody comes in to overwork a well, we have for years tried to get the state to mandate that they either spray dredge it or bucket dredge it and rebuild the spall banks on either side of the canal or the marsh surrounding it. The state has for years allowed people to prop wash or wheel wash, where a tugboat will come in there, wheel wash it, get the barge in, get the barge out. We went through a process in 2013 with Kirk Kilgen, who was the field biologist with DNR at the time, and actually did a study, right? We took 2 canals, put some PVC pipe out. 1 canal was bucket dredged, 1 canal was wheel washed, and the wheel wash canal actually lost more land over the course of a year than the bucket dredging. In the coastal use permit world, the state always permits oil and gas activity. We as the locals can't actually physically issue them a permit. We issue them what's called a coastal zone impact certificate. So what we said is if the state allows them to prop wash or wheel wash, whatever you want to call it, whatever cubic yardage they show on their application, 500, 700, 1,000, we assess them a fee as a deterrent to not do it. So for years it was 50 cents. It's becoming popular again, because I think we're seeing some activity on the coast. So we're trying to up it to $1 to try to deter them from doing that, because we know it causes more problems than good, and we would actually rather them bucket dredge it or spray dredge it than wheel wash. So it has nothing to do with single-family dwellings. All it applies to is a company that would come in and prop wash a canal or a piece of property to overwork a well or do whatever exploration or activity they're trying to do in there. Make sense?
Very good. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah,
you have the
that's
floor.
mainly wheel wash what we're talking about. And that's mostly the southern, middle part of the parish to the south. They ain't got too much wheel wash going on in the Thibodeau area. I wouldn't think anyway.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Ms. Chesson, you have the floor, ma'am.
The money collected from these fees that are happening, where does that money go to?
All right. All right, Mr. Rodriguez, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, so the fee schedule is associated with wetland impacts per acre. So maybe that's what Mr. Bo is getting confused about. That stays the same. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. And wrap up, Mr. Chesson.
Yeah, so all of the money goes into a dedicated coastal fund that the only thing we could do with it is coastal projects. So a lot of the projects that she's do with Ducks Unlimited that we partner with Go Mesa dollars, this kind of supplements it. We've used it to buy some equipment over the years. In the beginning, we did it when we first started the projects with Ducks Unlimited. That's how the original airboat was purchased. We purchased it with some of that money. We've done a couple of smaller equipment purchases with it, drones and stuff over the years, but the bulk of it goes into coastal projects.
Thank you, Mr. Chesson. Any further discussion on the ordinance at number 6 before we bring it to a vote? Oh, Mr. Araby, Mr. Melvin has hit his button. Okay, Mr. Melvin, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, just to be clear, just to make sure. So for instance, the Terrio Canal on Highway 308, it's cane right now when you go into the back to the lake. So if one day somebody like Bayou Crab, they wanted to sell that, I'm just using for an example because I don't know, I'm asking for clarification. So if they wanted to do some camps along there and along the Terrio Canal, would this apply? Because it's a navigable waterway?
Okay. Is that the last question, Mr. Melvin?
Yes, sir.
All right. And next up is Mr. Araby. You have the floor, Mr. Araby.
Mr. Chasson, our neighboring parishes, St. Charles, Terrebonne, Jefferson, or what type of fee are they charging, you know? Are we within the range with them, or above them, or below them, or what?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Araby. And so you have two questions posed to you, Mr. President.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Melvin, it is only going to apply if an applicant lists prop washing on their application. So we don't go out and look for this. We don't go out and try to stick people. But if a company or a person lists that they're going to do prop washing on their joint permit application, that's the only time it's enforced. And to your comment, Mr. Araby, I don't think any other parish does it, to be honest with you. We talked to Terrebonne back in the day when Nick Mathern was there, because he and I were kind of doing the coastal director thing at the same time. But nobody, to my knowledge, does it. They just kind of let it fly and they don't really care about it. But to us, it's a deterrent because we know it's an issue. So we've tried, and it lulled for years. And I think now that we're seeing a little bit more activity down there, you've seen it kind of pop back up, which is why Megan asked us to revisit it, to see if we can add another 50 cents to it. It's either going to really deter them to do it, or if they still want to do it, it's going to be more projects we can do with Ducks Unlimited in the marsh. So we win it kind of either way.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chasson. Mr. Araby, you got a follow-up? Because you were back up on the board. Go ahead. You have the floor.
I guess the reason why I asked the question, I'm just kind of concerned about how it's going to affect the commercial people that want to come do business in our area, you know, that if they can go to other parishes and they don't have to charge us, and we got to charge them, you know, because we need all the business people we can get in our parish right now. So I'm good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we haven't noticed a decline in people doing business, because it's only a handful of people that do this anyway, right? There's only a handful of operators down there. So they've known it for years. They know it's a cost of doing business. So we've never gotten any pushback on it from the time we instituted it back in 2011, and I don't anticipate any issues going forward.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chasson. All right. There be no further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed say nay. Nay, raise your hand. Motion passes with 6 yeas, 1 nay, nay being Mr. Melvin, 2 absences, those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Good? All right, I'll now entertain a motion to close public hearing. So moved by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Lorraine. All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passed with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences, those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Brings us to item J, proposed ordinances. Mr. Melvin, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Okay, proposed ordinances. Number 7, proposed ordinance establishing a 4-way stop at the intersection of Ridgefield Road and Talbot Avenue, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 2, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, installing the necessary 4-way stop signs and providing the penalties for the violations thereof. Would somebody move for Mr. Broomfield, please? Thank you. Move by Mr. Adams for Mr. Broomfield. Proposed ordinance number 8, proposed ordinance granting variance from the Lafourche Parish subdivision regulations from the installation of a fire hydrant in the proposed Indy Lee Mere Fort Public subdivision as not recommended by the Lafourche Parish Planning Commission at their March 27th, 2024 meeting. Moved by Mr. Adams for the administration. Number 9, proposed ordinance declaring property as a surplus belonging to the Lafourche Parish government, authorizing the disposal of surplus property, authorizing the advertising of surplus items for sale, authorizing the acceptance of the highest qualified bidders, and any remaining items that are deemed to have no value will be properly discarded, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chasson for the administration. Number 10, proposed ordinance providing for a 2024 supplemental appropriation 24-004 within the 2024 operations and maintenance budget and capital outlay budget to carry over projects from 2023, close out debt funds due to refinancing and create new projects, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Adams for the administration. That's it, Mr. President. Thank you. Mr.
Thank you. No, thank you very much, Bo. Much appreciated. Brings us to item K, resolutions. Number 11, resolution approving an agreement between Pisciola and Associates Incorporated and Lafourche Parish Government for engineering services for the project titled Sugar Ridge Pump Station Rehabilitation, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Adams for the administration, second by Mr. Rodriguez. Any discussion? There being none, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 12, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Ducks Unlimited Incorporated for the development of the West Barataria Basin evaluation and design for potential restoration projects, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Shessel for the administration, second by Mr. Rodriguez. Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Lorraine, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, on this Ducks Unlimited, I talked to Archie earlier. I could go way back from 2013, 18, 2020, 24. We have sometimes they do one a year, sometimes they do 2 a year. We're getting ready to get another one, I think, on the south end of the locks. And what this is they build them terrace, and it's for the wildlife, and it also protects the South Lafourche levee, because a lot of it is built. They have some that they come up the bayou in some cases, but most of it is in the southern end of the parish, because that's where they're trying to help us to protect that levee the best they can, and it works. So anyway, we had to put up $50,000 on this one. Every project we come up and have to put up some funding. So this one is 50, and it's 750 that they're going to do, but we got to put up 50. So,
very good.
So thank you, man.
Thank you, Ms. Lorraine. And brings us to Mr. Chesson. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Lorraine noted we just celebrated our 10th anniversary of our partnership with Ducks Unlimited and ConocoPhillips, which is the major landowner in South Lafourche, with 600-some-odd thousand acres between Lafourche and Terrebonne. It's really been a beautiful partnership. We started out on Bayou Lowers on the east side, and we did some stuff behind Basons, and now we're slowly working our way south. And in some cases, it's terracing, depending on what the soils look like. In some cases, it's full-blown marsh creation. You've seen a hodgepodge of the V-wing terraces that look like ducks flying. The ones behind Basin were squares. Some of the squares we filled in, some of them we didn't. But I'm happy to say that a lot of it, 98% of it survived Hurricane Ida. So it's a testament to the engineering that DU does and the placement of the soil. So we're very happy with it and why we continue to help fund these projects.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there any further discussion on item 12? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passed with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 13, resolution approving agreement between Laterre Engineering LLC and Lafourche Parish Government to provide professional services for specific projects, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Mr. Adam for the administration, second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 14, resolution appointing 1 member to the Recreation District Number 8 Board. Mr. Araby for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Araby?
One vacancy, we have 5 applications. I'd like to nominate Ms. Becky Toops.
Ms. Becky Toops, can I get a second? Second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? Mr. Melvin. Do you raise your name?
I'm just waiting.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, okay, got it. All right, any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is any opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 15, resolution appointing one member on the Library Board of Control, Mr. Melvin for the administration. And Mr. Melvin, who do you have, sir?
Yes, I'm moving with Mr. Perk. For the Library Board, Ms. Courtney Hubble, which is a reappointment.
Ms. Hubble, can I get a second? Second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? There be none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 16, resolution appointing one member on the Recreation District Number 2 Board, Mr. Araby for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Araby?
One vacancy, 2 applicants, I'd like to recommend Mr. Jeffrey Leday.
Mr. Jeffrey Leday, second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is any opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 17, resolution approving an agreement between Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development and Lafourche Parish Government for the project titled Lafourche Parish Signing and Striping, project number H.014629, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Adams for the administration, second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 18, resolution approving a no-cost space agreement between the Parish of Lafourche and U.S. Small Business Administration, SBA, for temporary usage of property and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Ms. Chesson will move on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 19, resolution approving change order number 1 for the project titled Recreation Facility, Hurricane Ida Lighting System Repair Replacement, Golden Meadow, and LaRose Fields, adding 38 additional days to the contract time and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any all relevant documents. Ms. Chesson for administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 20, resolution approving change order number 1 for the project titled Bayou Blue Park Hurricane Ida Repairs and Replacements, increasing the contract price by $40,205 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any other relevant documents. Mr. Roderick for the administration, second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 21, resolution approving change order number 2 for the project titled Bayou Blue Park Hurricane Ida Repairs and Replacements, decreasing the contract price by $14,500 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any all relevant documents. Mr. Roderick for the administration, second by Mr. Lorraine. Discussion. There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passed with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. Item 22, resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the Parish of Lafourche and the Lafourche Parish School Board, allowing the parish access to use the school board's media center tower and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said memorandum of understanding and any and all relevant documents. Mr. Araby will move on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Perk. That brings us to item L, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, our Managers' Reports, Presentations, and our Updates. Number 23, Finance Representative to present the monthly financial report as required by the state agreed upon procedures for March 2024. Mr. Administrator, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Parish President Chesson stepped out. He is actually going to watch his daughter participate in the honor band concert. So going to participate in some really essential duties. We did share last week the financials. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or Renita. She is out today, but she will be available to be able to answer any questions that you may have. And I'm available for any questions as well.
Thank you, Mr. Roosevelt. Brings us to item M, questions for the administration. Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, Mitch, are y'all working on that deal with the senior citizens with that order 6713? Where some of these centers need some funding for the light bill. The Council on Aging doesn't fund the light bills. And you got 8 centers in the parish. So it would be real nice if we could come up with $10,000 a center for the year when you got rid of the, what is it? The one that they had, the senior citizen, they had something that's...
Lafourche on the move?
Yeah, Lafourche on the move, that deteriorated. So could that possibly be done?
All right. Is that your only question for now, Mr. Levine?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Administrator, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, that is something that we're actually looking into so we can put something together and work something out. Actually, Ms. Charlene and I actually discussed that a little bit, and Parish President Chasson and I also had that discussion.
Thank you, Mitch. Mr. Lorraine, follow up.
One more thing is I talked to you about the lights in Golden Meadow. Did you get a chance to check that deal? Okay, buddy, you're on the ball. I got to give it to you.
All right, so Mr. Melvin, you're up next, sir.
Thank you. Mitch, I got a call from outside my district. You know, sometimes we get calls from other folks, and I could have referred it to the councilman, but I'd like to educate myself as well. It's an existing street. It's not a new subdivision way before, maybe before I was born, who knows, but they said they don't have any fire hydrants on this street, and I find it strange. But so the lady told me, and I'm going to go ride and maybe talk to that council member, but it kind of came up a little while ago. Do you know what it takes to investigate there, so to see why they don't have any fire hydrants? Because they don't have a pond or a detention pond for anything.
All right. Mr. Araby, you have the floor, sir.
Mr. Mitch, can you kind of give me a little update again on the recreation and Raceland? I know we had a pre-construction meeting a week or so ago. Anything, action getting taken? I know they're ordering material and stuff like that. They got any time frame on when they're going to get started and when they're going to be completed?
All right, is that everything, Mr. Araby? All right. All right, Mr. Administrator, there's 2 questions up for you. One was related to fire hydrants in a subdivision, and the other is a time frame on the Raceland Recreational Center. And you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councilman Melvin, we're going to have to look into that. I honestly don't have that answer for you at the moment, but we'll get it and see where we end up. Councilman Araby, I did reach out to the engineer to get me a full schedule. I'm waiting on that as we speak. Materials were indeed ordered, as you mentioned, and they are out and actually doing the design finalization on the roof to the building itself, which is a separate project, and that is actually in process as we speak. Once I have that information, I'll be more than happy to share it with you.
All right, very good. You had a follow-up, Mr. Araby? Oh, hold on. Araby's got another question for the administration. Give me a second. All right, another question?
Question for Mr. Dillon. Dillon, I know I put in for projects to try to put another additional outfall on Market Street going into our reservoir to help the area in that back section to get the water out of there quicker. Do you have any update on that, where we at with that? If we get started working on right-of-ways or what's going on?
Any other questions for the administration, Terry? That's it.
That'll be it.
All right, so Dylan has agreed to answer that question. So Dylan, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, sir. No progress as of yet. We learned about it at the 2-3 meetings ago when you mentioned it. Found the money in the budget. The money is there in the budget. We did look at the right-of-ways maybe a year ago when you had asked about it, so the right-of-ways are in place. I'm not sure if it's adequate right-of-ways, if we have enough room, but we do have a right-of-way there. I guess the next plan of action would be to have a meeting, sit down with you, look exactly what you're looking to do, and then consult an engineer and see what needs to be done. So we can set that up whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Dylan. Much appreciated. And that brings us to item N, discussion. Anyone have any other discussion? Mr. Melvin, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, I'd just like to let people know that not this weekend, but next is a Thibodeau Fireman's Fair, so y'all can come out and have a good time. It's Thursday through Sunday, not this weekend, but next. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Boo. And that ends discussion, brings us to item O, adjournment. On a motion by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Lorraine, and with no further business, the Lafourche Parish Council regular meeting of April 23rd, 2024 will be adjourned at 17:52 hours. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Does anyone oppose? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences. Those absences being Mr. Brumfield and Mr. Pert. Thank you all.
Good job.